true, true.
True.
Yeah. Let's go.
True.
Yerp. What's good? Yeah, know the vibes. It's September. We've been talking about this. We've been preparing y'all for this. The time is here. September 1st. What's good? What's good with y'all? How y'all feeling? How y'all doing? We got Crest in the building early. What's good, Crest? How you feeling? How are you feeling, my boy? That's your daily dose of ASMR right there. That good old coffee. Coffee for real it's not really good, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't keep lying to ourselves. Coffee is not really that good, but sometimes it's a necessity to get you through. Like, if you're trying to push through, you need coffee. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, not without sugar. So I have a thing when I'm at home, I don't add sugar to stuff. Right? I told y'all before, I'll tell y'all again. Y'all know True is not a fan of sugar. I was not gonna say not a sugar fanatic. I'm not a huge fan of sugar. When I go into my office, which, I do from time to time during the week, and I get coffee, I'll get it with sugar. At home, nah. Black coffee, you know what I'm saying? Tea, no sugar. You feel me? Frappe, okay. Little froth, little whip, little milk, you know what I'm saying? I don't think it needs to be said, but myself, just like a lot of other people, I can't tolerate lactose. You feel me? So I don't do a whole bunch of fancy drinks. Like, you gotta keep it super basic for me. You know what I'm saying? If I'm on vacation or something, I'll indulge. Give me all the stuff. Give me I enjoy. Y'all know y'all boy enjoy a nice martini. Give me an espresso martini. You can give me a frappe. You can give me a cappuccino. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, keep it small. Give me a what is it called? Pocillo. What's it called? Somebody correct me. What's it called? Capatillo? What's it called? You know what I'm saying? Little tiny Puerto Rican coffee, Colombian coffee. Give me one of them. You feel me? Give me a nice big cup of just black coffee. Got to. You got to. That's how you start it off. But it is SUBtember. What that mean, chat? That mean come through, right? Come through. Baby, come through. You deserve rounds tonight. That's a throwback. What y'all know about that? Listen, my alerts gotta be going. So at some point, I'm gonna need to check and make sure my alerts and things is straight. Because yeah, let me see. Because y'all already know when you come through, listen, if you were saving up for something, if you were saving up for anything, now's that time, chat. Now's that time. Custom. Let me see. Let me check something real quick. Let me check something real quick. Let me check something real quick. Yeah, I'm checking something real quick, chat. This is just the checking my alerts. I'm trying to make sure my alerts are straight. Because again, yeah, I know the vibes we on, right? It's SUBtember. If you're saving up for anything, now is the time that you want to be, you want to be donating. You want to be giving them biddies. You want to be donos, gifted subs. Now's the time. We went through this last week, chat. We'll do a quick little recap. It is SUBtember, right? It started Friday, August 29th, and it goes all the way through October 1st. So, there's going to be discounts on subs and extra, sub gifts. There's a whole end of the month finale thing, but now is the time where if you really like a creator, not just myself, any creator, if you like a creator, if you have a particular creator you support, now is the time to make it rain on them. Make it rain on them, chat. Give them the biddies, give them the subs, all the things, because it matters this month. And from this month, we go into TwitchCon next month. Right? Shout out to Kai Cenat, right? So y'all know to kind of celebrate SUBtember, the thing that he does is a Mafia-thon, right? Mafia-thon, exactly, Cress. So Mafia-thon, right? Everyone does SUBtember in their own way. And Cress and Kai Cenat and Amp, they all do they got the Mafia-thon. So he should be streaming right now, actually. His Mafia-thon thing is like nonstop streaming for 30 days or whatever. And maybe he starts today because I don't see him live right now. I don't see him live. But again, what day did he say he was going to start? He made it. Oh, actually, I think he said he's going to start September 2nd. I think he's going to start September 2nd. Hold up. Let me check. Let me check real quick. Kai Cenat, Mafia-thon. Matter of fact, let's just show it. We begin in SUBtember. We starting SUBtember off. Let's just go ahead and put it on screen real quick. Let's put that on screen real quick. Yo, Hotbox entered the chat. What's good? How you feeling, HB? Welcome back. Welcome back. What is good? You know what I'm saying? How you feeling? Let's see if my desktop's showing, chat. We talking about SUBtember. It's SUBtember. You know what I'm saying? Bring your wallets. Like I told people, True is one of those people. Just like, you heard this spiel on other people's channels before. You'll never hear me beg. You'll never hear me ask for things. Listen, I'm not going to say you never hear me ask for things because closed mouths don't get fed. You feel me? But it's SUBtember, and I told y'all, we needs the biddies. Give the biddies, give the gifteds, give the subs. I also want to make sure my alerts working, but this is
right? Definitely was.
Y'all can see that, right?
Every goal, every achievement, new
He said September 1st, so he's starting today, chat.
To every motherfucker that doubted us, I tell you what. Cheers, fellas.
That's the Mafia-thon.
Ni hao. To the Mafia.
He's starting today. They supposed to be streaming 24/7 for the next 30 days.
The fuck, bro? I think you said you handle that.
You know what I'm saying? I showed it last week. I ain't gonna show it again because they got a lot of unless y'all want to see it, but they got a lot of things going on with that that trailer. And I might get muted. You feel me? Shaw in the building. What's good, Shaw? How you feeling? Moving back to Cali Thursday, so I had to step back from streaming. I feel that. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Hotbox, this is how you got to think about it. People who support you are going to support you. So if you got to step away for a week or a month, you got to take care of stuff back home, whatever you got to do your thing. Because when you come back, we still going to support you, right? You know what I'm saying? People can't be basing their support. Like, what's the word I'm looking for? It can't be like a circumstantial support, right? Like, I'm only going to support you if and when, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm only showing up for you on Thursday, Hotbox. Sorry. I don't know why I chose Thursday, but Thursday is what you get out of me. You feel me? And be happy with it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, shout out to the move, Cali. You know what that means. I can cancel my hotel room. I can just, you know what I'm saying? I can go stay with Hotbox while I'm at TwitchCon. You feel me? Yeah. Back to streaming soon. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it. But y'all already know the vibes we on, chat. Like I said, I'm going to keep telling y'all all week and probably all month. It is SUBtember. Make sure you bring your friends. Tell your friends to bring their friends so we can be friends. And we're going to need some biddies and we're going to need some subs. Because we're trying to go into October strong. You feel me? Get your badges, too. Get your badges. There we go. Crush starting it off strong. Let's go, chat. Let's go. Get your badges, right? So, bet. We got you. We got you, Hotbox, for sure. If you gifting biddies, if you gifting subs and things like that, Shaw starting off strong. Let's go. They trying to create a hype train. W biddies, W gifted. Let's go. And I saw the alert. Look, we made sure that alert was working, Shaw. There you go. The alert came through. I don't feel like that's the alert I set up, but an alert did come through. So at some point, whether that be this stream or the next, we got to figure this out. Shout out to Shaw going crazy with the subs. She about to start a hype train. Let's go, chat. W gifted. Can we put Shaw sound in the background too? You said that's my goal. Hold up. DJ, stop the music. What is my goal? Shout out to that. Shout out to y'all going crazy. Yeah, I need to change my goal. Shout out to y'all, man. Seriously. Showing love. All right, here we go. I'm getting a little better. Manage goals. All right, bet. Let's see. All right, the bits goal is cool. We ain't got to change that. All right, here we go. Subscription goal. All right. Let's go. Set up a new goal. My goal alert should, let me see. Let's see, chat. All right, we're going to set up a new goal. Start a new goal, right? It's SUBtember. So we're going from, say description, help me get a mic. I don't need a description. I'm going to say it's setting up the goal, chat. It's SUBtember, right? And let me set my goal from 10. We're going to 50, chat. Let's go. We're going to 50. Let's go, chat. Let's go. And y'all already know, you're going to get your money's worth. You feel me? Because y'all know it's Monday. And if you've been with us the last 3 weeks, if you came on this, let me say this to y'all. If you came on this live 3 weeks ago, let's say you only been here 3 weeks. True, I've been here almost 100 days now. You feel me? There was once upon a time when I came on here and I couldn't even raid. Y'all remember that? Who remembers the great non-raiding event of You know what I'm saying? I want to be like of the 1970s, but it was like 2 months ago. Remember, I couldn't raid anyone, and now look, I can raid people. I can accept the lovely gifts from Crest and Shaw and the subs and the biddies. You know what I'm saying? But if you came here only 3 weeks ago, you know we started a very, very comprehensive, started from the bottom discussion about investing on Mondays, right? That's what we did on Mondays. And we're going to continue that today, right? We're going to continue that today in 2 minutes. We're going to continue that in 2 minutes, chat. First of all, where's my book? 1 second. My book is right here, chat. Where's my book? Wait. Where's my book, chat? Where's my book? Oh, I got it. Here we go. All right, chat. I got my book. Why do I need my book? Because I'm taking notes in this book, but eventually I'm going to convert my information into this. I showed y'all this. I got a composition book, and I'm using it just for Twitch so I can... Listen, if y'all didn't know I was an organized person, forget all the stuff you see around me, right? This is the streamer's environment. That's what I call it. But true is, I'm a fairly organized person. You feel me? So I be taking these notes, and we gonna get it popping. It's gonna be some things I'm gonna test out. It's gonna be SUBtember. We gonna do whatever. You feel me? We gonna do whatever. You feel me? But I gotta take my notes. All right. So we're almost go time. Now where were we? Where were we, chat? Where were we? Okay. So today, right? If you're new here, right? First thing I'm going to tell you is that the stock market is not open today. So I wasn't thinking about it last week, and I said, yeah, next week we're gonna purchase our first stock together live, right? I lied to you. I lied to you, chat, because the stock market is not open today, right? The stock market is not open today, unfortunately, right? But all that does is give you more time to get your account ready for us to buy that stock. I told y'all what I was doing, right? I told y'all, first of all, disclaimer, I am not an advisor. I'm not a tax accountant. I'm nobody. Everything I'm doing is for educational purposes only, right? And that's what we're going to do, Chris. When we do it live, we're going to figure out what stock we on, right? I mean, because there's a ton of stocks I could purchase or want to purchase, right? So over the last 3 weeks, just so anyone's new here, right? Let's get y'all caught up real quick. Over the last 3 weeks, when I tell you we started at a very, very comprehensive level, we assume that True, myself, and as well as anyone viewing does not have any market knowledge, no knowledge of investing at all. So over the last 3 weeks, we've been providing some knowledge. So chat, what we learned? We learned what a stock is. We learned about what a brokerage account is, right? We learned about dividends. We learned about how they're paid. We learned about fractional shares. We learned about market cap, right, chat? We learned about a lot of things, right? We started at a low level, but if you just been here the last 3 weeks, and I encourage you, if you haven't been here, to rewatch those VODs, especially if you want to learn something. But we learned a lot of information starting at the bottom. And we're taking it slow because we're also, if people want to ask questions, you can ask questions. We're not talking too advanced at the moment. So, if you have an advanced question, I can touch on it, right? But in terms of the discussion, this discussion is still at a pretty lower level, right? We're assuming that when we first started this, people don't even know what a brokerage account is. They don't know what a stock is. They don't know what a company is. So we've been going over that information. Let's transition a little bit while we're recapping, right? Hold up. while we're recapping, chat. You know what I'm saying? Trust me, if I'm going to decide to cap, you already know your boy going to recap. You feel me? All right, let's move ourselves out the way. All right. Right. So y'all know, we said there's a ton of resources that you can use, chat. First of all, give me a second. Give me a second. Because I want to, I got to make sure I know what the chat talking about. So I got to pop out my chat. Let me put my chat over here. Let me pop out because I don't want to miss nothing. You feel me? You feel me? All right. Chat popped out. Shout out to everybody in the building. Right? All right. So going back, make sure everybody can see what we're seeing. Yep. You guys good. Right. So y'all know our favorite 2 pages, because there's a ton of resources, is CNBC.com and Yahoo Finance, right? There's a lot of places you can go for information. You can go to Robinhood. You can use your brokerage service, i.e. your E-Trade, your Schwab, your Merrill, your Fidelity, your Thinkorswim, your Webull. There's so many different things you can use. And again, I'm not sponsored by anyone. So if you hear your name on here, listen, I'm just putting it out there. I'm not saying if one is better than the other. I'm just saying there's a lot of resources. There's Yahoo Finance. There's Google Finance, right? There's Investopedia, there's investing.com, right? There's a lot of resources. If y'all ever paid attention when I actually show my desktop, you can actually just look at some of my resources right here, chat. Some of my resources are right at the top, right? But again, for our journey beginning together, right? We're learning, we're going from the ground up. This is Yahoo Finance. This is CNBC, right? So we're going to recap a little bit before we get into our article rundown. Y'all already know the vibes, right? And I'm taking a little bit of notes too. And I suggest you do the same, right? So NVIDIA had earnings. Oops, that is not the ticker. NVIDIA had earnings. We're not discussing earnings at this very moment. We just know they had earnings because we talked about it last week. Remember, most of our articles touched on the AI space, touched on NVIDIA. And you remember we discussed how do you know when the earnings date is coming up? So we went over this information here. I realize there's some of the things we still need to touch on, such as the PE ratio and the earnings per share, right? Or something made a link. I don't even have a mod yet, so if it made a link, it may have automatically. Let me see. Oh, okay. It may have auto blocked it unless you took it off. So yeah, so here's where we discussed last week, where you can come and find out a lot of information about the equity that you're looking into, right? So the previous close, right? The open, the bid, ask, days, range, 52-week, all of this information, right? So before we get into our article rundown, chat, and y'all know that's one of our favorite things to do is our article rundown, is we're going to look at a new section in Yahoo Finance. So this is just the quote page. So when you type in your ticker symbol, right, we learn what a ticker is. It's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 letter or number abbreviation for the corporation, equity, or whatever that you're looking for. That's how you can find them. You can also type in the name of the company and it'll come up as well. But we're just looking at NVIDIA because they had earnings last week. And if we go to the 1 week view, you'll see we kept talking about the price for NVIDIA and then the earnings, they dropped, chat. They didn't drop a whole lot, but they did drop for earnings, right? So over a 5-day period, they were up as high as 183-ish. And then now they're chilling at 173. Not a huge drop, but a drop nonetheless, right? So the new section I want to point y'all to is the profile, right? Right on the left-hand side. If your homepage looks like this is the profile section. Why do we care about the profile section? Because when you're investing in a company, you want to know something about the company other than the name, right? We don't want to be that group of people. Shout out to Besco in the building. We don't want to be that group of people that says, hey, Well, why'd you invest in them? Well, we did it because we heard someone say it. Right? Not saying that it can't be a winning investment because you heard it from someone else, but we don't want to be that person. Right? So on the profile page, it gives you a lot of information about the company. We'll go over some of the information that it gives you. First of all, a quick fact about NVIDIA. Did you know that NVIDIA was one of, if not the top company, again, this is not sponsored, with the most millionaires? Shout out to Mr. Jensen Huang, the co-founder, CEO, and president and director of NVIDIA. You know what I'm saying? The company with the most millionaires, chat, that should tell you something. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? That should tell you something, chat. Or hold up, let's go back real quick. Or do we gotta hit him with one of these? Do we gotta hit him with one of these? Is y'all niggas hiring? You feel me, chat? You feel me? But the profile, right? So the profile gives you some good information, and here's the portion about key executives, right? So amounts are as of December 31st, 2025, and compensation values are for the last fiscal year ending on that date. Pay is salary, bonus, etc., exercise, and the value of options exercised during the fiscal year, currency in US dollars, right? You can see NVIDIA Corporation. If you want to know where the headquarters address is, it's right there, chat. This is a publicly traded company, which means the information about said company is also public. Who's GOAT, Jordan or Kobe? If you're asking who is the GOAT, in my opinion, I'm going to tell you it's going to be Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? There's no debating that. I was there when he hit that last, you know what I'm saying? Jordan. Kobe get his respect too. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if you really get into that debate, right? If you really get into that debate, you got to factor in the time frame in which they played. That's all I'm going to say about that. And if we was investing, or if you were betting, right? Like, who you giving the ball to for the final shot? Somebody look that up and tell me who got the most game-winning points. But I don't know. Kobe or Jordan? I don't think it's a huge debate. I don't think you can miss with either. But the time in which I grew up in, I got to go Jordan. I'm obligated to say Jordan. You feel me? But that's the NVIDIA Corporation address. You can see the sector. So we're going to talk about sectors today, chat. It's in the technology sector. The industry is semiconductors. And they got 36,000 full-time employees, right? So here you can see the key executives in their title. So the co-founder and CEO, you can see the exec VP, right? The vice president of operations, right? This is for any company we go to. This is the profile, right? And then gives you a description of the company. So we'll just read this one because, you know, we always take the time to talk about NVIDIA. And then we'll look at Apple so you can see the information is the same. NVIDIA Corporation, a computing infrastructure company, provides graphics and compute and networking solutions in the United States, Singapore, Taiwan, China, Hong Kong, and internationally. The compute and networking segment includes its data center, accelerated computing platforms, and artificial intelligence solutions and softwares. So y'all remember, Chad, I told y'all, NVIDIA, Advanced Micro Devices, IBM, right? Those are technology companies in the semiconductor industry. And if you look somewhere, if you have a setup, you look somewhere around your computer, look on your CPU, look on the back of your screen, look on your keyboard, look somewhere, look on your laptop. The chances are pretty high that you're going to see one of those stickers from one of these companies, right? Because they are dominating the industry when it comes to graphics cards, etc. Right? Networking, automotive platforms, and autonomous and electric vehicle solutions, Jetson for robotics and other embedded platforms, and DGX cloud computing services. Some of this stuff you got to look up. I don't know what DGX stands for, but it's a cloud computing service, right? Just reading the information about the company sometimes can give you way more information than the person you might have been looking at online that's so-called teaching you. If you're in one of those positions. Again, not knocking nobody, not saying people aren't capable of teaching this information, because I would be saying the same thing about myself. All I'm saying is there's ways to find information that is readily available to you, and it's public knowledge. The graphics segment offers GeForce GPUs for gaming and PCs, the GeForce Now gaming streaming service and related infrastructure and solutions for gaming platforms. Quadro NVIDIA RTX GPUs for enterprise workstation graphics, virtual GPU or vGPU software for cloud-based visual and virtual computing, automotive platforms for infotainment systems, and Omniverse software for building and operating industrial AI and digital twin applications, right? Digital twin, right? We may want to just touch on that today as well, just so people understand, because a lot of people understand, I believe, AI and what that kind of means. So maybe for a quick second, we could just kind of look at how they're defining AI and digital twin. And one of the reasons for that is because whether you believe it or not, you being online is creating a digital twin, right? Or you have a digital twin, right? It also customized agentic solutions designed in collaboration with NVIDIA to accelerate enterprise AI adoption. A lot of companies are adopting AI, right? The company's products are used in gaming, professional visualization, data center, and automotive markets. Yes, NVIDIA is one of those that also deals in automobiles and they help with autonomous driving, etc. It sells its products to original equipment manufacturers, original device manufacturers, system integrators and distributors, independent software vendors, cloud service providers, consumer internet companies, add-in board manufacturers, distributors, automotive manufacturers, and tier 1 automotive suppliers and other ecosystem participants. NVIDIA Corporation was incorporated in 1993 and is headquartered in Santa Clara, California. 1993, that's probably the year that some of you were born. But shout out to that information. That is NVIDIA. Y'all know it's SUBtember. We're going ham. And to start going ham, we're going to welcome Pay into the chat. Get your emotes ready. Let's go. Take a sip of this coffee. Let's go. W Pay in the chat. Put some emotes in the chat. Y'all see what's going on. Good morning. Good morning. Pay, how you doing? Y'all know it's SUBtember, right? Y'all know it's Monday morning. So we got to get a little bit of knowledge. Y'all already know. You know what I'm saying? If you got an empty investment cup, let's fill it up. You hear me? Right? So that's NVIDIA. We're on the profile page, right? Because this is public information. They tell you upcoming events, the ex-dividend date, the dividend date, right? So they're giving you the earnings date, right? So they're giving you in advance some stuff to look out for. And then all the recent events, so annual reports, periodic financial reports, 8K statements, blah, 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 right? We'll get into what the statements tell you later. But on the profile page, again, this is not a new page. If you've been here, we're on Yahoo Finance. This is where you can find information, though. Same thing as if we go to Apple. Y'all know the ticker symbol by now, AAPL, right? Right? If you go to Apple, the same information exists. So you have all this company information, right? That gives you information about the chart and other things that to think about or to look for. But again, if you go to the company profile, you can see information. 1 Apple Parkway, Cupertino, right? There you go. That's where Apple's located. The phone number, the website, the sector is technology, industry, consumer electronics, full-time employees or FTEs, 150,000 chat, right? The key executive information here as of December 2024, but the information is virtually the same. And then Tim Cook. So Mr. Timothy D. Cook, chat. And actually, if you scroll over, you can see their pay, right? Born in 1961, and you see how much he make? Look at his pay, 16.52 million, right? Don't let that be confused with net worth. That's just pay. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to that guy, Tim Cook. That is information, and that's how you find it on the company page when you go to Yahoo Finance, right? The quote page. That's what we call the quote page, right? So now I'm going to switch gears a little bit, chat. Now that we talked about the profile, again, we're taking it step by step. We don't want to overload anyone because we're assuming that, hey, we're just learning this stuff together. You feel me? So we're going to switch over from Yahoo Finance over to CNBC. We love CNBC here, right? Again, it's just one resource. You can go to any number of resources. Again, I'm not sponsored, but you can go to Bloomberg. You can look the information up on Google. You can go to anybody's website, chat. You can go to Market Watch. You feel me? You can stay on Yahoo Finance. There's plenty of places you can find this information, right? So why do we come here? Well, one, we like the rainbow chart, or we call it our Christmas bar, right? The red and green bar that tells you what's up and what's down currently. Again, the market's not opening today, so there's no pre-market information. But as of 8/29, right? So as of last week, everything was down, chat, right? The Dow, S&P, NASDAQ, Russell, the VIX, right? These are some of the things we're going to touch on. Stocks closed lower, but S&P 500 notches its fourth winning month in a row. So first, let's see what kind of articles they have for us on here, right? Because just because the market isn't open, chat, doesn't mean they're not going to have updated articles. So you already see, taking the top slot, Trump keeps threatening to punish Putin. Here's what's holding him back. Y'all know what we do here. For your entertainment purposes, some of the articles we make assumptions about, right? Some of them we just read the title, keep it moving. If you want to read the full article, you know where it's located. Here's what's holding him back. I would have to assume maybe a war. U.S. President Trump says he'll punish Russia if Moscow doesn't agree to peace talks with Ukraine, yet he hasn't pushed the button so far. Right. I mean, chat, that's obvious, right? You know what I'm saying? We got Solo in the building. You know what I'm saying? WAP into the chat. What's good with you, WAP? How you feeling? Right? It is SUBtember, so when you come in, if you feel the need or just want to, or prepare yourself for the month, because it's only day one. I'm not saying you got to empty your pockets on day one, but come through, get a biddies, get a subs. We're trying to turn up all September. But chat, people got to stop acting like our president, Donald J. Trump, is just some foolish ass nigga, bro. Like, I keep telling people keep saying, are you a Trump supporter? Are you this supporter? I'm not getting into politics. The only thing I will mention is that you have to give everyone respect. And that's what he's doing. Because before Trump got into politics, bruh, people loved Trump. They loved him. He was businessman of the year, businessman of the century, right? Businessman of a decade, right? You feel me, chat? And then now when politics get involved, people switch up on you real quick. But look, this is just a classic case of, listen, why would I test Putin? Why would he do that? That's just not smart. That's how people get knocked out, chat. Walking into a room and assuming you got the best hands. Assuming you have the ultimate fisticuffs and that anyone who crosses your path, right, is going to get knocked out. And that's how you end up on the ground snoring, right? It's a method. Like Solo said, it's a method to his madness, right? If you're not strategic, then listen, first of all, you can't hang around me. You got to have some type of strategy. You can't just crash out all the time. Sometimes, a crash out is deserved. But he's strategic. You see him flying freaking stealth bombers over people's heads and stuff. I mean, that's a tactic. You telling me if I go to another country and I see a stealth bomber fly over my head that I'm not about to be a little bit like, obviously, they're not going to do anything because he's not that crazy. He's not gonna use a stealth bomber on his home, like on his home turf. It doesn't make sense. But he's just letting them know, like, listen. You know what I'm saying? They on deck. You know what I'm saying? I keep that fire on me. You know what I'm saying? That's what he be saying. So Trump is a strategic man. And if you're not strategic yourself, listen, today's Monday. It's a fresh start to the week. Think about how you can be strategic. Don't just crash out. Even if you got a person at work, y'all know I like to chat. Even if you got a person at work that's just annoying you, or you trying to get back at somebody, or whatever the case is, take a breath. Breathe in deeply. Breathe out. Take a breath. Think about your next steps, right? That's why the game of chess was invented, right? If you're a checkers player, that's fine because you can win at checkers. You can go jumping people, right? But just think, if you're a king, right, it got to be things that move around you to protect you. The king is never going to be the first one to attack, right? Right? Why would the king go in and try to face an army on his own? A king should have an army. A queen should have an army that they could use as their disposal. You got to be strategic, chat. That's what we're talking about. In life, in business, in politics, and investing. You got to be strategic. Don't just crash out. Don't just take your money. Like I said, if you haven't, start trying to load up $200 if you can, or as much as you can, so we can try to purchase an investment next week. We're trying to purchase one together, right? Purchase something. Ain't got to be the same something, just to get the journey started, right? But be strategic. Don't just crash out. Don't just throw all your money and just be like, we'll see what happens, right? Anyway, moving on. An Iowa nuclear plant is the next contender to restart, spurred by AI data center demand. Who knows what that could mean, right? They could be looking to, use the energy for whatever. I don't know. We make some assumptions, some stuff, we just let it go. Plane carrying EU leader hit with suspected Russian GPS interference, right? Russian interference on a plane. Listen, that tells you how much technology they got on these planes. If they can detect interference and where it's coming from, listen. The man behind OpenAI's expansion and its efforts to win the enterprise. If you know his face, you know his face. Trump tariffs that are voided by and ones that are safe from Friday's appeals court ruling. You know what I'm saying? They giving you whatever, chat. NVIDIA, open door on list of retail traders' favorite stocks heading into September. I mean, NVIDIA is going to be one of those stocks that's like everyone's favorite stocks just in general, because they like, don't be confused by earnings reports. Stocks go up and down, chat. We said that multiple times. If you look at a chart, you can look at this on the side. It goes up and down. That's what you have to understand and just have to be aware of, right? If we go to year to date, look, it's going to go up and down. There's going to be times where it goes down. There's going to be times it goes up. Don't be too concerned over the short term. Don't be clickbaited into thinking, oh, I just need to own NVIDIA for only September. Like, no, that's not what we on. Why many quick service restaurants are turning to Ecolab. Interesting. It's a paid post for Ecolab. Oil giant Equinor backs crisis-stricken Ørsted as Trump lashes out at offshore wind. They just be making Trump to be the bad guy. Maybe he is. I don't know. Maybe he's the bad guy. Maybe he's the hero that Gotham needs. Only time will tell, chat. You feel me? Alibaba shares jump 90% on cloud unit acceleration. Report of new AI chip. A new AI chip. That AI chip got to be developed by somebody. And I'm going to say it ain't developed by Alibaba. Because Alibaba, like, if I'm not mistaken, is like just like an international, I can't say international, right? Because not everybody's in the United States, but like a version of like an Amazon platform where you can go there to buy many different items, right? A historic change in how Americans buy groceries is underway as SNAP benefit cuts kick in. The cut and SNAP benefits, chat. A historic change in how Americans buy groceries. Yo, the way we've been buying groceries has been changing a lot over the last couple years, couple months, couple weeks. Groceries are expensive, right? Have you noticed that the price of groceries naturally for many people, like, they're going to affect what you purchase? And what I mean by that is, if you're a person that loves junk food, right? Your chips, your cookies, your snacks, your preservative snacks and all that, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not knocking you. But I'm saying that if you are a type of person that buys that stuff over, like, just call it traditional food, stuff you have to put on the stove to cook, and then prices of food that needs to be cooked goes up, it's going to push you to those snack foods more. Right? Or if you're on the other side of that and you prefer to buy more things that you have to cook and you do indulge in snacks or whatever, you got a sweet tooth or a salty tooth, whatever you want to call it, and the prices of either goes up, you're going to pick and choose what you're going to buy, right? You're going to be like, listen, I know we used to buy all the snacks and all the crazy stuff and go wild, but listen, the price of food is going way up. We just got to be like, necessities. You feel me? That's what it's on. UBS calls Hoka sneaker maker a significantly underappreciated growth stock. Hoka, the shoes that got everybody going crazy. I think they run like $100 and some. I don't know the exact price, but I think they're up there, like $100 or something. Let's see. Let's see how much Hoka shoes cost. Just give me any shoe. I'm a dude, so let's look up a dude shoe. Sizes, what is this? Oh, here we go. 150. 155. 175. Pretty expensive shoes, chat. People swear by them. 250. Hoka got $250 shoes, chat. Bruh, who is Hoka? Jordan? What are these? The Hoka threes. Bruh. These $150 Brooks shoes made my retire my what? They talking about Brooks shoes. Yo, who's behind Hoka? 250? I guess these made says best for race. So I guess if you got a race, then these Hokas are lit. Chat. $250 for sneakers? Yo. That's wild. They could be worth it though. Hoka, if you're listening, listen, it's SUBtember. Let me get another sip of this. Hoka, if you're listening, it is SUBtember. These all gender Rocket X3s, feel free to send a pair to my house. It could be the yellow color. It could be the blue color. Send them to me. I'll try them out. Right? I got a quote unquote race coming up on the 27th. If you get them to me before the 27th, I'll wear them during my race. It's not a big race, so don't get your hopes up, but feel free to send them to me. I'll wear them nonetheless. And chat, while we're on the thought of investing, most like company pages and stuff, if you actually go to the bottom, you can look through this information, right? And if you look in the right place, right, you can find information, right? You see how they have all these links, right? If you go through these sections, you can find investor information. Let's get back to our articles. But yeah, Hoka. Shish. That's crazy. How y'all doing, chat? How y'all holding up? Yeah. All right, let's continue to get to it. All right. I'm a CFP and personal finance reporter. How I plan for open enrollment amid rising healthcare costs. Certified financial planner, chat. Open enrollment for healthcare. Shout out to all those utilizing healthcare. Take advantage of it. I need to do way better. I do have health insurance, clearly. I mean, I have a whole family. There's no way I'm not going to have health insurance. That'd be crazy. Here's how to get the 7,500 EV tax credit, even after the September 30 deadline. Listen, don't sleep on that EV tax credit, chat. If you're in the market looking for an EV, don't sleep on that tax credit. Rudy Giuliani hospitalized with serious injuries after New Hampshire car accident. Does Rudy Giuliani even drive? Who's driving him around and got into a car accident? You're driving around an important man. What are you doing? Pay attention. And who was on the other end of that accident? You can't really, I don't know who's at fault. I'm not reading the article. But listen, a New Hampshire car accident, like, this ain't the Autobahn. What are y'all doing? Pay attention. Especially, don't tell me it can't be Rudy's driver's fault. If it's your fault and your only job is to drive, like, bro, you're fired. You're fired, bro. Getting my man in an accident hospitalized? If he's hospitalized, I'm going to have to assume it's the other person's fault, right? You feel me? Here's how the U.S. Open signature Honeydew cocktail price stacks up against inflation. I mean, I'm sure it's high. At the U.S. Open, yes, the drinks are high, right? At the Kentucky Derby, yes, the drinks are high. Did you expect to go to that type of event and not pay a high price? Higher than inflation, probably. I'm sure it is. China's Xi urges AI corporation rejects Cold War mentality at SEO summit. European markets climb as UK-Norway warship deal lifts defense shares. Bitcoin dominance could return in September as crypto traders await Fed decision. Waiting the Fed decision. Right? Last week I saw an article that said Bitcoin hit new high and then drops. I mean, it's going to go up, it's going to go down. Let's see what they're talking about over the last month. Let's see what the chart looks like. Y'all see where it's at? Chart went up to 123. But again, you can always look at the range, chat. If it's a new 52-week range or whatever the case is, look, 124, 457. Currently trading at 109. The cryptocurrency market is always open, chat. That's how the currency market works. Cryptocurrency, it's always open. It's not waiting for the bell like your standard New York Stock Exchange. They just open. It's trading. See, market open. If you look close enough, you'll see it move. Right? Look at the volume. Remember we talked about volume? 60 billion. 60 billion, chat. Almost 61 billion. That's the volume. Crazy. That's Bitcoin. CDC asks all staff to return to office September 15th, 5 weeks after shooting at headquarters. Bro. Yo, you got to realize that people who run these office buildings do not care about you. They don't care about your health. Like, yes, people need their jobs. People who work at CDC, they need their jobs. They saying, listen, I know you almost got blicked up 2 months ago, but time to get your ass back in here. That's what they did with COVID. They said, listen, I know the whole entire world shut down, but it's been a year. Like, who determines how long? You know what I'm saying? It's been a year. Get your ass back in office. That's how they say. No mask running around, right? School starting back up. Oh, people about to get roasted. BYD shares fall nearly 8% as second quarter profit slumps 30% on China EV price war. I'm sure this car manufacturer is popular in China, but until I start seeing some of these cars rolling around America, you know, I'm in the United States, chat. That's how I think about a lot of stuff. Once it starts hitting real life, then you know it means business, right? When you start seeing your friends talk about, yeah, I saw a BYD on the road today. Listen. Other nations mandate retirement savings. The U.S. does not. Here's why it matters. Retirement savings is, I mean, that's one of the reasons why you invest, right? Because you're trying to make sure you're good for retirement. Like, retirement comes faster than people think. And to not have any money going into retirement is a very, very difficult thing. I'm not retirement age. I got a little while to go. I should be doing a lot better, as I'm sure most people are. There's some people who are doing just fine. They're right on track. They're doing good. I need to be doing better. Chat, if you're listening, do better. Figure out something. We got to figure out something. Because when it hits and you're not working, listen, we don't want to be out here old as hell trying to figure it out. We got to figure it out now, chat. The stock market had a tough week, but a great month. Here's what happened. The best balance transfer cards, it's like a sponsor slot for credit cards, can help you save hundreds or more on your debt repayment. Here's what it really means for Trump to get control of the Federal Reserve Board. Yo, him and the Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, they've been going at it, haven't they, chat? If you watch any of this news, they've been going at it. You know what I'm saying? When I say going at it, it's like little comments, little thing. You know what I'm saying? They've been going at it. And again, the market's not open, but here were the market movers. So Autodesk is top and the bottom, Dell. Right? So yeah, so that's the article rundown. Typically when we read these on a Monday, the stock market will be back open tomorrow. But when we read these on a Monday, they give you things to look out for the day, for the week, some things that you may hear. So that's why it's good to kind of read the headlines of the articles. Some of them you may want to actually dive in deeper. And again, even if you're on Yahoo Finance, same thing, right? Yahoo Finance has articles as well. Nothing wrong with them. And the interesting about Yahoo Finance is from this main page, when you look at the articles, whatever is mentioned in there in the article, they kind of give you like a, hey, here's kind of what's listed in the article, right? So if you see how they're talking about Alibaba, right? The AI surge fuels $50 billion stock rally. And then you see how they mention Alibaba on this page. But look at the difference. You see how they kind of give you the Alibaba ticker down here, and they tell you percent change. So that's one difference. Again, not saying one is better than the other, but just giving you, pointing out some differences in that information, right? So I do want to switch gears after I take a sip of water. I need a sip of water, chat. Let's go back full screen real quick. You feel me? So we're starting off slow. I mean, we picking up speed though. We are picking up speed. We're gaining momentum. Right? We're gaining momentum, chat. W to everybody lurking, everybody in the chat. Appreciate y'all coming through, showing support. Right? The subs, the biddies, everything. We're not done just yet, though. I ain't got to work today. I ain't going to be in here for 4 hours. I'm still not there yet, but it's a few other things I want to talk about before we close out. Right? So let's switch gears back. Got my little sip of water. Let's switch gears back. Right? So the next thing I want to talk about is the sectors, because we're learning, right? So here on Yahoo Finance page, right, you see all these different things you can actually do. So you can go to my portfolio and it'll track, if you create a custom portfolio for things that you want to watch. News, it can give you different news. You can see the different headings that they provide, crypto, tariff updates. So this is good to, get some of this information. Markets, you see they give you the most active, gainers, losers, trending tickers, all this stuff. There's resources, chat. There's resources out here that can help you understand the market a lot faster than you think. Research, earnings calendar, economic calendar. I love a good calendar. And we'll definitely talk about that too. Well, not right now, but I love a good calendar, right? Love a good calendar, chat. Personal finance. Listen, back in the day, chat, when I first started using Yahoo Finance, that personal finance section, boy, I used to be in here. You feel me? Like reading about the credit cards, the banking, student loans, personal loans, all this. I read this information, chat, and I encourage you to do it as well. Videos, I can give you videos on all type of stuff, and then even stuff you can watch now. The section we're going to go to at the moment is markets, right? So again, some of the information you can see in here, again, related to stocks, the most active, gainers, losers. You can see trending tickers, futures, world indices, U.S. Treasury bonds, currencies, cryptos, top ETFs, top mutual funds, options, highest open interest, right? The highest, my brain is not working. So unless I click on it, I can't tell you what's the highest. Dang, hold up. Let's see if I can unlock my brain real quick, chat. This is definitely going to be open interest. This is going to be what? They're talking about options. The volatility. Implied volatility. Yes, I'm slow. Sectors, right? And then you can actually see the sectors listed. But let's go to the sectors section, chat. Sectors represent large sections of the economy and include multiple companies. Explore different sector performances below to analyze the economy as a whole, right? There are 11 sectors, chat. 145 industries. The total market cap, almost $73 trillion, right? By market weight, you can see the sectors, right? Here are all the sectors. Technology, financial services, consumer cyclical, communications, healthcare, industrials, consumer defense, energy, basic materials, real estate, utilities, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 sectors, chat, right? What I want to do is go over to Google and I want to say, or let's say what is, right? What are market sectors? Here we go. Right? I'm just showing y'all how easy it is to find this information, especially if you have access to Google. If you have a smartphone, chat, you know how easy it is for you to Google something or search something on the internet. Market sectors are broad groupings of companies within the stock market that share similar business activities, products or services such as the 11 GICS sectors like energy, healthcare, and information technology. These sectors categorize the economy into major segments, which are further divided into industries. Investors use these classifications to understand how different parts of the economy might respond to similar market forces, right? So the 11 market sectors, these are the main market sectors as defined by the Global Industry Classification Standard. That's the GICS, right? And we're going to read this information to learn about the market sectors. Number 1, chat, energy. Companies involved in the production of oil, gas, and other forms of energy. Materials, companies focused on mining and producing raw materials like metals, chemicals, and paper products. Industrials, companies that provide capital goods and services, including construction, transportation, and aerospace. Consumer discretionary, businesses that sell non-essential products and services such as apparel, automobiles, and travel. Look at that. When you're talking about investing, this says sell non-essential products. And they have automobiles listed, chat. Again, we like to make some assumptions, but if they're making assumptions, they're considering automobiles as non-essential, right? You don't need an automobile to survive, essentially is what they're saying. Consumer staples, companies that provide essential goods and services that people buy regularly, like food, beverages, and household products. Healthcare. Includes companies involved in healthcare services, medical devices, and pharmaceuticals. Right? You feel me, chat? Financials, companies in banking, investment services, and other financial businesses. Information technology, businesses that produce and sell technology products and services, including software and hardware. Communication services, companies that provide communication services such as telecommunications, media, and entertainment. Utilities, businesses that provide essential services like electricity, gas, and water. Then finally, real estate, companies that own and operate real estate properties. Those are the 11 sectors, chat. You feel me? It's important to know this information. It's important to know what industry equities operate out of. Because when you see news articles or you see something happen, right? This is why we're becoming familiar with reading articles. Again, we're just using CNBC. You can use any resource you want. But the reason why we look at the articles, because it gives you an idea of what is happening. You got to keep your ear to the world, chat. Your ear to the ground, ear to the earth, whatever you want to call it. You got to know what's going on. Excuse me. You got to know what's going on, chat. And the way to do that is by paying attention, reading articles, and then knowing what that means. Right? Right? So we know NVIDIA that we've been looking at, they just had their earnings. It's part of the technology sector, right? How do we know that? Because we went to their company profile, right? I'm going to show you again. We looked it up. We went to the profile. And when we went to the profile, it tells you their sector and their industry, right? Technology sector, right? Why market sectors matter. Economic conditions. Companies within the same sector often experience similar economic influences. Right? So let's relate that really quick. If we see an article that says, for example, and I'm making this up, chat. This is not an article that is currently listed. If we see an article that says, Trump loves technology, with a particular focus on the semiconductor industry. And all of a sudden, you're looking at your Christmas bar or you see your articles and it's highlighting NVIDIA. We're just using NVIDIA as an example. Don't you think that other similar companies such as Taiwan Semiconductor, AMD, Advanced Micro Devices, Intel, right? Your Broadcoms, your MicroStrategy, your Micron, all them little, not little, but those technology companies, especially with the focus on semiconductors, don't you believe they're going to probably move similarly? Move what we call in tandem, right? Tandem, right? You're familiar with that term, tandem, right? Think of it like a skydiving, right? Tandem jumpers, right? Being strapped together. If I'm strapped to a person that's jumping out of a plane, what you think is going to happen to me, chat? I'm also going out the plane, right? We're falling in tandem, right? Industry breakdown. Sectors are broad categories allowing for further breakdown into specific industries and sub-industries for more granular analysis. So it's one thing to say, okay, these companies are in the tech sector, but they may not necessarily be that much in tandem with another company in the tech sector. Now, when it comes to industry, that they're going to be more closely related because if NVIDIA is a semiconductor company, right? And then let's say we look at Apple. Why are we choosing these companies again? If you need to know, they're just the top companies that are traded. They're some of the primary focus companies. We'll get into that later. You see, Mag 7 is what we refer to as Mag 7. But that's why we look up these companies specifically. We're not sponsored or anything. But yeah, Profile information. This is Apple now we're looking at, chat. Apple is a technology company, but it's in the consumer electronics industry. So if something were to play out with NVIDIA, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to affect Apple the same way because it's two different industries. It could, right? It could if Trump says, hey, listen, we're not going to allow anyone to build any more semiconductors for the next 2 weeks. Is that going to affect NVIDIA or Apple more? NVIDIA, chat, because that's NVIDIA's industry. Apple's industry is consumer electronics, right? What is a major event that's about to happen with Apple, chat? Well, every September, traditionally, or thereabout, around September, is an iPhone release. So we should be seeing an iPhone come out very soon, right? That's how you can start relating information, right? Investor insight. Investors use sector classification to understand risk and potential returns across different parts of the economy. Right, chat? I've been doing a lot of chatting today. Need more water. But these are all reasons of why market sectors matter, right? All you got to do is type in stock market sectors and it'll give you this information. Again, now here, money.usnews.com, right? This says Stock Market Sectors 101, a guide to all 11 sectors. Each of the 11 stock market sectors, come on, stop it, has pros and cons that will attract or repel investors in accordance with their goals. So sectors can affect your investment strategy or your investing outcome depending on what your goals are, right? So some people have different goals and you see the information including here. So let's just take a quick look, right? The S&P 500 is divided into 11 market sectors based on global industry classification standards, right? So we'll call it the GICS sorts companies into particular sectors based on their primary business activities. Investors can then use the sector classification to ensure that their portfolios are fully diverse and not overly exposed to one particular area of the economy. I am glad they made that point right there. Because you ever hear the phrase, don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? You ever hear that term, chat? Well, that's what they mean, right? They mean that if you put all of your money into, for example, the tech sector, and the tech sector gets chopped up, bad news comes out, whatever the case is about technology stocks, I don't know, it could be anything. It could be the Terminator came to town and then, technology is not working. I don't know. We're making up stuff, right? Don't take that as fact, chat. Please don't. But you're going to have to assume that a lot of companies in the tech sector, regardless of their industry, are going to start losing money. They're going to start going down, right? So to avoid your entire portfolio going down at one time by putting all of your money into, for example, the technology sector, you do what you call diversification, right? You diversify, right? What is diversification, chat? It's a risk management strategy, most notably in investing, that involves spreading your capital or resources across a variety of different assets or ventures to reduce the overall risk of loss. The core principle is not to put all your eggs in one basket. You see that in quotation, meaning that if one investment or product performs poorly, others can compensate, leading to a more balanced and stable overall portfolio or business. Right? So what we're thinking of as at the start of this journey, chat, we're thinking in terms of when we're thinking about investing, we're thinking not only about having good companies, but also diversifying, right? We don't want to put all our money in one place and then all of a sudden the market goes red for a specific sector and then we just start losing money until it can recover that specific sector, right? And again, even in building a portfolio, right? You want to consider it something that you're probably going to hold for a while. Maybe you hold for a specific reason, but at the end of the day, we're just trying to build those principles that teach us what to do. That way you can do your own research and you're able to invest on your own, right? So here again are the 11 sectors. And now look at this. This is good because it's giving you, again, the basics, but it's giving you information about the sectors as well. It's giving you major examples, right? So let's pin this in the chat. Let's pin this in the chat, right? Let's pin that article in the chat. That is giving you basic information about, and it's a 101 guide to all 11 sectors. If you want to hear any specifics about one of these sectors, let me know. But here you go. Read the article. I'm not going to read all this to you guys, but it's here for you. It's posted in the chat. So those are the 11 sectors. Now let's go back for a second, right? Let's go back to our sectors. And yes, sectors are a huge thing, right? And they are going to be pretty much, those things are going to be in any of your resources that you use. Whether it be CNBC, Yahoo Finance, Google Finance, whatever, right? And most of the resources you use are going to have some subheadings as well. So you see markets, right? Business, right? Investing, tech, politics, videos, investment clubs, etc., 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 right? Pre-markets, U.S. markets, right? So if we're looking at U.S. markets, chat, if we go to U.S. markets, just showing you additional ways to find information. If we go to U.S. markets, notice they have additional segments: market movers, Dow 30, NASDAQ 100, and then they have sectors, right? And then here, this is information we'll get into later, but here again, sectors. The 11 sectors, chat, that same information, the 11 sectors, right? You see the price of the sector. You see the change. Again, the market is not open today. But this shows you, right? It shows you the movement of the sector. And why I said let's go back, because if we go back to, this is CNBC, just so everyone's on the same page. This is Yahoo Finance, right? Here's the year-to-date return for the sector. So as of now, communication services, they're leading the charge, right? They're leading the charge. Yahoo gives you a lot of articles, chat. No matter where you go, they give you a lot of articles. So communication services is leading the pack, right? So what happens if we actually click on it? What happens, chat? Companies that provide communication services use fixed line networks, or those that provide wireless access and services. Also includes companies that provide advertising and marketing services, entertainment, content and services, as well as interactive media and content provider over internet or through software. Companies in this sector include AT&T, Verizon Communications, Walt Disney, Netflix, Omnicom Group, Alphabet, and Facebook. Alphabet is Google, chat, in case you weren't aware of that. There are 262 companies across 7 industries. Right? This is the communication services versus the S&P. S&P, 9.84% year to date. Communication services sector, almost 20%. But you see how we can click on that and then they actually give us information about this particular sector? And then now look at this, industries in this sector. Recall at the top, I know I'm scrolling back and forth, but they give you the 7 industries in the communication sector, right? Industries in this sector. Internet content and information, telecom services, entertainment, advertising agencies, electronic gaming, broadcasting, publishing. Y'all see that, chat? And then look at this, the largest companies in this sector. If you want to know who are the large players in a particular sector, here is where you can find that information. W's in the chat. First of all, we got Bree who entered the chat. Right? Did y'all follow me just now? Did y'all see how I got to this information? I'm going to go back and do it again. I'm going to do it in slow motion for you. You feel me? Because I know the information can get boring, chat. I know it can get long and drawn out, but listen, chat, I'm putting you on to knowing what a lot of people know, a lot of successful people know, a lot of people who risk a lot of their dollars know. Shout out to Bree again for entering the chat. But Bree, what I'm talking about is the market sectors, teaching people how to understand the market sectors, what they are, the link that's posted in the chat. Let me go full screen real quick while I'm talking to Bree. The link that's in the chat is a link that gives a one-on-one into market sectors. The reason this information is important because it basically lets you know how the economy is broken down, right? It's letting you know like the economy is broken down into 11 sectors, right? The 101 on those sectors is right in that article. Even if you don't look at it now, maybe click that article, open it up on a page and save it for later. Right? You feel me? So let me shrink myself back down and show, because now I'm showing folks where to find that information, because we already went through the 11 sectors and we talked about what the sectors are. So if we go to markets, right, let's go back. We're on Yahoo Finance homepage. If you entered 2 seconds ago and want to know how I got where I just got, on Yahoo Finance, y'all know the primary resources that we're using, CNBC, Yahoo Finance. We go to markets, we go to sectors, we click on sectors, right? Here are the 11 sectors: technology, financial services, consumer cyclical, communication services, healthcare, industrials, consumer defense, energy, basic materials, real estate, and utilities. This is how the economy is broken down, chat, into 11 sectors. Within these 11 sectors include 145 industries and a market capitalization of almost $73 trillion. This is how, if you're in the United States, this is how your economy is broken down. What sector of our economy is doing the best right now? Communication services. That's why we went there. Year-to-date return on communication services is almost 20%. This was literally just a prompt question for your discussion board the other day for class. Bree, let me tell you something, Bree. When I be telling people I have a lot of information on a lot of different subjects, y'all got to believe me. This is just the start of the journey. I've only been here about 100 days. I don't even know if it's been 100 days yet. It's definitely over 90. But listen, I'm confident. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a CFP. I'm none of those things. But I'm confident if you put a Series 7 exam, a Series 66, or whatever, if you put it in front of me, I'm confident I could pass. I'm confident. You know what I'm saying? And feel free to ask questions. But listen, chat, it's broken down into 11 sectors, and year-to-date communication services is doing the best. So this is called a heat map, right? So it tells you who's doing good, who's doing kind of bad or whatever. But what we did is we clicked on communication services, right? So in terms of the total market weight, which is 100%, if you factor in all of these 11 sectors, communication services is worth almost 10% of that. Why do people talk about technology so much? Because that's where the industry is leading towards. That's where we're headed. We're headed into the AI generation, right? So that's why technology is 30% of our overall economy. But for now, communication services, all I got to do, I can click here. I can click here. Doesn't matter where I click, but if I click on it, right? If I click here, it's going to break down into the different industries within that sector, right? And I can click go to sector, or I could have clicked on the heat map. It would have took me directly to that. Yeah, use that as supportive evidence for sure. For sure. But you see this? Communication services. This is how you can get more details. And then in here, you see how they even tell you what companies are in this sector? AT&T, Verizon, Walt Disney, Netflix, Omnicom, Alphabet, which is also Google, and Facebook. Not the only companies, chat, because there's 262 companies in the communication services industry. I'm sorry, in the communication services sector. In this sector, however, there are 7 industries, and these industries are listed right here. As you click on them, it just breaks it down for you. Would y'all believe that year-to-date advertising agencies are almost up 450%? Can you believe that, chat? Can you believe that? Almost 500% if we round it up. That means for every dollar somebody invested into an advertising agency, they got back almost $5. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, chat. You talking about for every $1,000 you decided to invest, you would have got back 5 racks? Come on, chat. What are we talking about? And if we go down, we can see either table view or heat map view, but we can see the largest companies in this sector. Google, Meta, Netflix, T-Mobile, Walt Disney, AT&T, Verizon, AppLovin, Spotify, Comcast, right? They're listed in market cap order. So what does this tell you, chat? If you just was listening for the last 10 minutes, I literally just showed you how you can easily diversify a portfolio. If you wanted to have one stock, one equity in each industry, you can come here and take the top company. For example, I could take Google, and that could be my investment in the communication services, right? Because why wouldn't I want the top company in that industry? I could go back, right? If I wanted technology, right? I could go to technology, and let's read really quick, chat. Companies engaged in the design, development, and support of computer operating systems and applications. This sector also includes companies that make computer equipment, data storage products, networking products, semiconductors, and components. Companies in this sector include Apple, Microsoft, and IBM. Those are not the only companies, because there's 822 companies in this sector, 12 industries. What are the industries? There you go. What are the largest companies in this sector? Well, there you go. NVIDIA, Microsoft, Apple, AVGO, which is Broadcom, Oracle, Palantir, Cisco, AMD, CRM, IBM, right? I got Google in my portfolio for communication. For technology, I got NVIDIA. Look at this, chat. The market cap approaching $5 trillion. You want a diversified portfolio? How easy is this? How easy is it? Right? If we broke this down, chat, look, I could tell you exactly how much you need to buy the top company in each of these sectors in your portfolio is considered diversified if you want to diversify against all sectors, across all sectors, right? $174 for NVIDIA. Round it up. You need $175 for NVIDIA, right? How much you need for Google, right? Alphabet, Google, call it $215, right? We're talking about public information, chat. I'm just showing you how to find the public information. That was communication services. That was technology, right? What about healthcare, right? So when Bree get fed up and say, listen, this old lady who keep playing on my head top, right? I'm going to make some money while I'm making money. If Bree want to make money while she making money, right? She knows there's 1,185 companies in the healthcare sector, 11 industries, right? This is crazy too. I never knew I needed that. Exactly, right? Healthcare. This sector includes biotechnology, pharmaceuticals, research services, home health care, hospitals, long-term care facilities, and medical equipment and supplies. Also included pharmaceutical retailers and companies which provide health information services. Companies in this sector include AstraZeneca, Pfizer, and Roche Holding, Walgreens, Boots Alliance, and Cerner Corp. What are the industries in this sector, chat? Drug manufacturers, medical devices, biotechnology, etc., etc., etc. If I wanted to go down, what are the largest companies in this sector? Number 1, Eli Lilly. How much for one share of Eli Lilly if I want to diversify? Not saying you have to buy the top company, but if you wanted to diversify against all 11 sectors, utilizing the top company in each sector, well, Eli Lilly going to cost you, if we round up, $733. What are the other companies? Johnson & Johnson, AbbVie, United Healthcare, Abbott Laboratories, Merck, Thermo, Intuitive, Boston, Amgen. Chat, what we talking about? What we talking about, chat? Just 3 weeks ago, we was learning what a stock is. Now we know how to find the top stock in each sector. Like, I feel like Jay-Z right now. I'm giving y'all $1 million worth of game for $5.99 if you go ahead and gift that sub. You feel me? It is SUBtember. You feel me, chat? You gonna get your money back. You feel me? Drop the biddies, drop the subs. You feel me? Like, what are we talking about right now? The information is at your fingertips. I told you there's 1 million resources, chat. And I'm showing you how much information you can find using two. Notice how all this information, I jump around, but certain things I don't even touch on because some of the things, when you're a brand new investor, there's other things more important, right? Like I told you, there's other things more important. If we take a step back and we click on Apple or any stock, right? Matter of fact, let's switch gears. We just looked at healthcare. Let's look at Eli Lilly, right? It's crazy too because my mom went into broadcasting a few years back and expanded into her own radio station. But before grand opening, she was investing into iHeartRadio and some other underground radio stations with business partner. And boom, later down the line, now she has her own station. She might have to take on iHeartRadio alongside them and everybody else. Shout out to that. Shout out to that. Applause for Bree's mom. Oh, and W and Bree planning out. She said, listen, as soon as I get paid, SUBtember. You know what I'm saying? Feel that, Bree. Always appreciate your love and support. Eli Lilly. If we click on the profile, chat, right? We talked about this earlier. Look how much information we can find out about Eli Lilly. Where they're located. If I want to pull up on Eli Lilly, I know all I got to do is go to Lilly Corporate Center, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46285. I know the phone number. If you're not answering the phone, Eli Lilly, we pulling up. You feel me? The website, the sector, the industry, how many employees they got, who's in charge, right? David Ricks, who's next in charge, Lucas, right? I can find out how much you get paid. $7.75 million. Chat, the information's there. These are publicly traded companies, right? There is so much information that is available and at your fingertips, and it's right here in front of your face. You want to know how things are going in the economy? You feel me? This is what we on. I showed y'all when we come to CNBC, we're going to read some articles so we can see what they talking about. These people who have been given the magical pen to write articles and post it on this important website, let's see what they talking about. Right? Wegovy. Trial results give boost to Novo Nordic amidst U.S. market woes, right? You feel me? Novo Nordisk. Listen, chat. You feel me? All we got to do is look it up. Any information we want about these companies, we can look it up. If you're publicly traded, I can find out a lot about you. Trust me. And chat, we only clicked on two. We only clicked on two of the subheadings at the moment. And at the moment, we're talking about sectors. Again, the sectors are also listed here, but I'm showing you guys how to navigate and how to get around. Like at one point, they don't feel violated. Right. I mean, they chose to go public. Right. This is what you have to deal with if you go public. And y'all wonder, like, y'all ever sat back and wondered, chat? You ever sat back and wondered, like, bruh, when people protesting, how the hell they know where to go? Well, the information is public. The website is public. The address is public. If I want to pull up on Apple, simple. Apple got their own roads and streets. All I got to do is go to Cupertino. Exactly. Now I see how these companies plot on snatching your business. Exactly. You want me to show you something real quick, Bree? Listen. Let me show you something. Let me show you something real quick. Let me show you something real quick. And we'll stick to, let's go to consumer cyclical. Let's go to consumer cyclical. Let me show you something real quick, Bree. Let me show you something real quick. This sector, just everybody pay attention for the next 3 minutes. Because I'm about to touch on exactly what Bree said. Bree said, now I see how these companies plot on snatching your business from under you by offering you an amount they know you're not going to turn down. Let's get slightly more advanced than we've been doing, right? And we're going to stick on the theme. Pay attention for 3 minutes. Consumer cyclical. This sector includes retail stores, auto and auto parts manufacturers, restaurants, lodging facilities, restaurants, and entertainment companies. Companies in this sector include Ford Motor Co., right? Ford, McDonald's, and News Corp, right? 602 companies, 23 industries, a market cap of almost $8 trillion, right? Here are the industries in this sector, right? You go anywhere from internet retail to auto parts to footwear to lodging, right? All this stuff, leisure, luxury goods, etc. The largest companies in this sector, Amazon at the top, Tesla, Home Depot, McDonald's, Booking Holdings, TJX, right, which owns TJ Maxx, etc. And Home Goods, right? Lowe's, Mercado Libre, Nike, DoorDash. Y'all paying attention? These are the top companies. Let me show you something. I'm going to bring up a new page, right? I'm still going to stay on Yahoo Finance, right? I'm going to show you something, right? Look at the market cap on Amazon. Almost 3 trillion. I taught y'all about market cap already. right? Market cap, again, watch chat, pay attention, because we're talking about Bree's statement. Market cap, almost 3 trillion, is the stock price times the amount of shares that are outstanding, right? If we go to statistics, this is a new tab we haven't went to yet, chat. If we go to statistics, this gives us information in terms of the finances, etc. It gives us a lot of information, right? You can see the trailing 12 months. That's TTM. We're getting a little advanced. Here's the revenue, $671 billion, right? But all we need to do is really look at the market cap. Look at the market cap on Amazon, chat. Almost $3 trillion. Let's go back to our list, right? Let's switch market cap from the top to the bottom. DoorDash, right? Not saying DoorDash is the worst company. We're just switching from top market cap to the bottom market cap. Only on the largest companies. This is not the entire sector. So let's be clear. Because you have to imagine, if I go to the entire sector, company 602, the smallest company in the sector, is going to be small. DoorDash, market cap, 104, almost 105 billion. Versus 3 trillion, chat? Versus 3 trillion? Right? Y'all still paying attention? Look at this, chat. Pay attention. 104 billion. This is one of the largest companies in this sector, chat. Look at this, right? This is the balance sheet information for Amazon. Market cap, 3 trillion. Look at the cash. Look at the cash, chat. Almost $100 billion in cash. Operating cash flow, over 100 billion. Chat, do y'all see this? What am I telling you right now? Do y'all think if Amazon made the right move, that Amazon could take DoorDash or buy out DoorDash? Now, it gets difficult the bigger the company is, right? But this is, again, we're looking at the largest companies in this sector, chat. We're looking at the largest companies in this sector. Let's go. Look. This is, you follow me, chat? Now we're in this. Now we're in it, right? Now we're in it, chat. I'm talking about in there, right? All right, let's go. Now let's switch the market cap for more than just the largest companies, right? These are some companies y'all didn't even know exist. Look at the market cap on some of these companies, chat. Not saying anything is wrong with the companies, but if some of these companies are doing something that Amazon could feel like they could profit off of, they could change the way they're operating, etc., right? How easy, chat. How easy, chat. Look at this. How easy. Look at this, chat. $54 million. That's the market cap of your company. Bruh, my operating cash flow is over $1 billion, $100 billion. Do you not think that if Amazon wanted to purchase this company, they can? Right? It's all public information. So just like Bree said, when companies plot on snatching your business, trust me, everybody got a number. You feel me? And some of these companies will value you at different numbers to take over. Like, come chat. Let me put you on real quick. Chat. Let me show you something. Real quick, chat. Look at this. Follow me for a second. This is Tesla, right? This is Tesla. The market cap of Tesla is $1 trillion. What did I teach you guys earlier? You can go to the profile and you can go to see who the key executives are. First of all, if you want to pull up on Tesla, there's the address. 1 Tesla Road. Here's the phone number. Here's the website. Here's the sector. Here's the industry. Here's how many employees they have. We all know Mr. Elon R. Musk is the CEO of Tesla. How much? His pay not even listed here. But y'all know it's a lot. We all know it's a lot. So when you're thinking about, watch chat, peep game real quick. When you're thinking about a company like Twitter, like Snapchat, right? When you're thinking about a company that's a social media platform, right? Market cap of Snap is pretty high, $12 billion. But do y'all not think that when you have these juggernauts of companies and these CEOs and these people who have hella bread, that they can't come buy these companies? Chat, don't make some of these people mad. Right? Don't make Elon mad. Don't make Mark Zuckerberg mad, right? You have some CEOs who are pettier than other CEOs. You don't think, dog, do you think there's a difference between Elon Musk and Drake? You know what I'm saying? When it comes to money, there is no difference. The only language is dollar signs. You feel me? So if you play an Elon face and he decides to buy your company and do whatever he wants with it, rename it X, repurpose it, he can do that. Not all of these. I don't want to make it seem like all these acquisitions have malicious intent. I'm just letting you know. You got to be careful who you playing with, chat. Right? So if you're going to go on Instagram and you're going to be talking shit to Drake and you got pictures of your girl all over your Instagram, don't be mad when Drake pull up in her DM. You started it, right? You don't own a 747 with a bedroom in there. So why are you playing on this man's head top? It's the same, chat. It's the same. You feel me? Like, we can talk investing and we can relate it to real life, or we could talk investing in a way that people understand. It doesn't matter. It's the same shit. If you know, you know. If you understand, you understand. And that's why we're here, to get y'all to understand. This is how our economy, if you're in the United States, is broken down. 100% market weight. This is how they break it down. 30% technology, 60% financial services, right? Financial services is exactly what you think it is, right? JP Morgan, Legg Mason, Wells Fargo. Here's look, in the financial services sector, 15 industries, 1,449 companies. Here's where you can find the information. Here's the largest company, Berkshire, obviously. JP Morgan Chase, Visa, MasterCard, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley. Who y'all think was going to be on the list? When you heard financial services, what's the first name that came to your mind? Probably whoever you bank with. They did this with this company called Honeypot that I used to love, and they handed it over to the white man because he offered them top dollar for it. I was hurt because it was black owned. And first, I was in the works of trying to become a part of their marketing team for their internship. If y'all don't know what Bree's referring to, Honeypot was a black-owned company. And if you know, right? On the packaging of Honeypot, right? If I'm not mistaken, Bree, it said created for black women by black women for the purposes of black women. It's a hygienic product to keep yourself nice and clean, nice and fresh through all times of the month. Right? There's not a shock here that women and feminine products exist because women and men are different in the fact that their bodies operate differently and women use certain products, right? Honeypot has several products. One being wipes, right? And when they came out, especially for black women, oh, yeah, no, a black woman going to support another black person all day. But according to what Bree just told y'all, listen, they handed it over to a white man. You feel me? Rack in the building. This is what they mean by pay attention, right? This is what they mean by pay attention. Do y'all recall years ago when everybody was Black Lives Matter, but then they found out Black Lives Matter was doing, I don't want to speak negatively on nobody, but apparently Black Lives Matter was not all about black lives. You feel me? But this happens. This happens. And sometimes this is people's strategy. Sorry to say, but sometimes this is people's strategy. They know if I'm a black-owned company, right? Let me go full screen real quick. If I'm a black-owned company and I market to black people, the chances of black people supporting me are going to be higher because black people support. I'm supporting everybody black, right? Quote unquote. Issa Rae, right? But when that dollar gets offered, right? When that dollar gets offered, chat, what do y'all think is going to happen? Especially when they're giving life-changing amounts of money to people. Listen, your honeypot company, I'm just making up stuff, right? Your honeypot company, chat, is worth, you've been successful. Your company's worth 5 million. To you, that's, 5 million. Jeez. Somebody come through, listen. We love what you're doing here. We love all the progress you took. You got yourself in Target and Walmart and all these other retailers. You're doing well, right? How about we make you a nice, generous offer? We're going to offer you $20 million to sell us your company. Come on, man. What y'all think going to happen? What y'all think going to happen? Not speaking on Honeypot's CEO or previous owner or whoever the case is, but most people are going to fold like a fresh washcloth out the dryer. Real easy. Real easy, chat. That's not going to be a difficult fold. Some people fold like lawn chairs in the middle of winter. It's tough to fold them. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be some back and forth. It is. It's a fucked up industry. That's why you got to know how to navigate it. That's why you have to have strategy, right? Because at the end of the day, people got kids to feed. People got families to take care of. And they'll be so greedy. Like, gang, once you're making so much money, you can't even just sit on it and keep. Yeah. You have to do charity or some sort of giveaway or fundraiser. You don't have to. Right? You don't have to. Some people don't. They force some people's hand into doing it. Some people don't want to do it. They got to do the philanthropic thing, right? They got to give to charities and otherwise, right? Some of these, they do it just because it's a tax strategy. Some people do it because they really want to do it. Some people do it to get people off their back. Right? Exactly. It does suck. But don't a lot of things suck? Right? A lot of shit is just horrible. That's why it's like you can't really complain about it. Y'all heard me say on multiple occasions, listen, when it comes to the game being any game, it could be the game of life, right? It could be the board game of life. It could be Monopoly. It could be investing. It could be Call of Duty. It doesn't matter. It could be Twitch, right? You got to learn the rules of the game if you want to know how to play. If you want to know how to play and how to win, you got to learn the rules, right? You got to learn why people do certain things, right? You'd be crazy if you didn't think that the $7,500 tax credit that keeps getting pushed in your face from, let's call it EV manufacturers, wasn't also benefiting the EV manufacturer. Right? Right? It benefits both parties, right? Why do you think a lot of CEOs don't like to be paid a paycheck? A lot of CEOs, chat, don't like to be paid a paycheck. I don't want to get paid every 2 weeks or every month or every year, right? Don't pay me in cash. I don't want that to be showing up as income. Listen, a lot of people, I'll just say on our level, I don't know who's watching. There could be plenty of big folks or whales watching, right? But on a retail, that's what they call us, right? Retail investors. On this level, the game is being played differently, right? And what I mean by that is, bruh, people out here paying hella taxes after going to work. You go to work and you work on a 2-week pay period, 80 hours. And every time you get paid, you look at your paycheck and go, dang, they robbed me, right? My paycheck, $2,000, and I'm making up numbers, chat, and $1,000 went to taxes. Every time you get paid, right? You're playing the game differently. When did the government come in and work? Right, exactly. I don't remember the government coming in and clocking in. You ever hear people say that? You feel me? But that's how it's played, right? And sure, some of that money is used for good purposes, right? Making sure that, you know, the streets are without potholes and the education system is giving kids who can't afford to have lunch free lunch. They use the money for good purposes, but all the time, I don't know. I don't know, chat. If you ask me, I'm going to have to assume, no, they don't. You feel me? Because if I'm riding around a city and I see potholes, listen, chat, they're not using all your dollars to fixing roads. Some cities be lazy, but some cities just don't get the government funding. Right? You feel me? Because let's be real, depending on the area you live in, the city that you live in, the people that you're surrounded with is going to also determine the outcome of what plays out in that city. Let me give you an example. Right? There's nothing, I don't want to say that. I was going to say there's nothing wrong with living in the hood. Some people are comfortable living in the hood. Let's say that. I do not live in the hood. Right? But I guarantee if you go to a hood or hood adjacent environment, right? The streets there are going to be more fucked up than the streets in my neighborhood. Why is that? Because first of all, people in the hood or hood adjacent environments are likely, not saying this is always true, but likely are going to have less education. What does that mean? That means they're less likely to speak up when shit ain't going right. Instead of speaking up and calling the city and talking about, hey, we got potholes all over the place and I go to work 80 hours a week and my paycheck is $2,000 and you taking $1,000, y'all ass need to come out here and fix those potholes. They're not going to do that. What are they going to do, chat? They're going to learn where the potholes are and they're going to drive around them. You feel me? They're going to learn where the potholes are and they're going to drive around them. You think we doing that shit around here? Fuck no. You think I want to take my $80,000 car and learn potholes? Nah, nigga. I go to work. I pay my taxes, right? Fix them damn potholes. And I don't want a Domino's pizza fixed pothole either. I want one where the city's going to come and they're going to rip out that section of the street and you're going to fix that shit. I'm not learning potholes. Nah. I want to put on autopilot on my car and let it drive down a smooth road. You feel me? Because I pay. But it's not that I just pay. People in hood and hood adjacent areas pay too. They're just less likely to speak up. Right? They better step out of those comfort zones, right? 3 tires in a week. Listen, Bree, quick story on that. Very, very short story. When I was living in the hood, right? Potholes used to come out of nowhere. I learned all the potholes in my area. But it was always like, listen, one pothole here and the next day a pothole can come out of nowhere, right? And you know after it's snow, potholes are even worse because you got plows that might come through and they might rip up even more of the street that's not going to get fixed. Listen, chat, I was driving down the road, right, in my caddy, in my CTS, my 05 CTS, pushing, clean, boom, tire pop, right? I'm on the side of the road now because I got to take care of this. Another car, 15 seconds later, boom, tire pop. Damn, another 15 seconds, boom, another tire pop, right? Everybody learned the potholes, but now you go around this one and you hit a new pothole. Now you got 3 cars lined up. And people mad. Everybody got a pop tire, right? But what we do about it? Nothing. Sit on the side of the road. Maybe call your insurance company. Maybe change into a spare if you got one. Be pissed off because now you're going to be late to work. You feel me? Right. No matter what you drive, tires ain't cheap, but definitely if you pushing the Benz because they're going to try to give you Mercedes-Benz tires. You feel me? Redlining been going on since. Exactly. YZ, no. Shout out to YZ for entering the chat. Or living in the hood, get your car stolen. Sideswipe. Door ding. Hey, listen, I tell you, that shit happens everywhere. But that's a fact. It's just more likely to happen. Right? Exactly. They been doing that. Right? They still license plates, all kind of shit. Listen, sometimes things in the hood just stick with you, right? Because what I'm about to say next, half the people are going to understand. The other half are going to be lost. What do you do when you got a new registration sticker, chat? If your answer is you take a razor blade and you chop that bitch up on your license plate into squares, I know exactly where you're from. You know what I'm saying? You feel me, chat? There's still your VIN number. Yep. Still your engine, leave your car parked. They will, yeah, exactly. You already know the vibe. Some people like razor blade, cut your sticker. Yes. If you're in the hood or hood adjacent, you know somebody will steal your registration sticker off your car. Right? So a survival tactic to keep you from having to go through that whole process again, what you do? I'm going to take a razor blade, and right after I put it on my car, I still do this, chat. You're going to chop that mug up. So it's still visible to a police officer or law enforcement, but if somebody try to steal it, they're going to run up and be like, well, can't take that one. Unless you want to take it off 100 pieces at a time. You don't have to work for this sticker. You feel me? People will take anything. Like you said, redlining been happening. Correct. But what we're specifically talking about is the knowledge, right? We're talking about people taking over areas. We're talking about people buying out other companies. And why is all this happening? Because of the knowledge. The knowledge that people have, right? If you don't have knowledge, then somebody can come in and they can do something in your area without even a veto, without even anyone from the community even saying, nah, right? This is a residential area, right? So if Amazon decides to come in and put up a distribution center in the middle of your neighborhood, why do you think that happens? Because when they sent out the information, nobody voted against it. So now what? Now you got semi trucks driving all through your area. Sure, you may get your Amazon packages a lot sooner, but now you got semi trucks in your area, right? And not putting this on Amazon, but if you pay attention, right? What do semi trucks in areas also bring? Not putting this on Amazon. We love Amazon here, and it's not Amazon's fault. It's just something that happens all across the world, even. When there's more semi trucks in areas, there's more semi trucks in areas. What that means is if there's more Amazon trucks, there's more no-name trucks, right? Because now you have an area where some semi-trucks feel safe going through because the roads are, first of all, built for the semi-trucks to be able to get through. And what happens with semi-trucks? Not all, chat, but some of those semi-trucks are illegal. Some of them carry illegal products. Some of them traffic people. Some of them kidnap kids and women and men and all this other stuff. You feel me? Why do you think people vote against distribution centers? It's not always about Amazon. It's about sometimes what it brings. Unsavory characters, right? You ever notice how people push against public transportation, especially when public transportation may benefit certain people? Why don't we have a bus route that goes to this particular mall, but it goes to this mall? Why do you think that is? Car accidents, right? All kinds of shit. You feel me? All kinds of stuff. But as you learn and you grow, right? This is for anyone listening. As you learn and you grow, you realize that is why kids, people living in certain areas get the upper hand because of what the area allows, right? Because you're not a single voice. You're not just this one person saying, hey, I don't think Amazon should come here because of this, this, and this. You got a whole group of people, right? And if y'all end up winning and do it in any way, they're going to make sure that business doesn't survive. They're going to make sure that business fails. They're not going to support the business. They're going to stick together. Right? Because when you come around areas, for example, like, again, we know, I used to live in the hood. I no longer live in the hood. But now the area I live in, dog, semi-trucks not even allowed to drive down our roads. That's how serious it is around here, chat. When you see a semi driving down the street, it sticks out like a sore thumb. Everybody's looking at that truck. Everybody's looking at that person like, you don't belong here, brother. These streets aren't even made for semis. And if you didn't properly plan your route, trust, you continue at the speed you're going, 5 miles down the road, you're going to destroy something because it's not going to be tall enough for your truck. You're going to destroy something. And now your ass is going to be on the news. And don't let you have a logo on the side of your truck. They're going to destroy your company. Unauthorized so-and-so vehicle driving through the... Bruh. But that's because you're going to have more people speaking up. You're going to have more people like, we want this versus this. We want that versus this. Right? You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, all this stuff ties together, but all of it does relate to the economy. You can take advantage of this stuff by learning, investing, because what does that do? That just gives you more money and more power to do certain things. And if you get to a certain level like Elon, then you don't have to put up with nobody's shit. Talk about me all you want. Oh, y'all want to use Twitter to talk about me? Okay, I'll buy Twitter and I'll ban you. You feel me? Like, you're not hurting my feelings. I'm rich. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Laughs and rich. You're not hurting my feelings. I'm rich. You feel what I'm saying, chat? That is how people operate. And if you want to operate in that same zone, then you got to learn. And trust me, it don't take a lot because all you have to do is work your way up. You start coming up with connections. You start networking with a different crowd. I read an article the other day, chat. Excuse me. I read an article the other day that said parents believe that their parenting is what makes their kids successful, and it's not. That's what the article said. They said, according to studies, your parenting is actually at the bottom of the list of things that shape your children. At the top of the list is the area that you raise your children. Why? Why, chat? And it just makes you think, right? Because if you're, shout out to Stormy for entering the chat, first of all. If your child is in a community where the main community is, call it what it is, chat. If it's pickup basketball is the top sport in your community, right? We all know the environment of where pickup basketball happens. Not saying it only happens in the hood. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the people that it draws, right? The environment, especially if it's competitive, can get aggressive, right? There's certain people. But we also know that typically that's where most people are going to congregate, especially in the hood, if that's what you have available. But when it comes to networking, is your child going to be networking the same on a basketball court as they would if they were doing equestrian or polo or golf? The answer is no. Let's not play around. Right? Shout out to you too, Stormy. Let's not play around, chat. And that's what the article was talking about. Networking. Putting your kid in opportunities that advance them, right? Nothing wrong with team sports. Nothing wrong with sports. But you got to understand that the area and the kids that are in that area are going to shape your child's future. If you are in the hood or hood adjacent and your child or even yourself, you grew up, you know what I'm talking about, right? I'm going to be friends with other people that live in my neighborhood. We started off talking about investing, Stormy, and then the conversation just goes into other things, right? So at the moment, we're talking about how basically how you raise your children or the area that you live in can shape your child's future. It's not just the parenting. Shout out to Ice in the building, right? So if you grew up in the hood or hood adjacent, you know that your chances to network are not going to be as great as other kids who are growing up with people playing pickleball and golf. Is just what it is. Why is that? Because those families are going to have other networks. You're going to meet people through people. That's what networking is. You're meeting people through people, right? Or you're meeting people through experiences, right? You're going to have exactly mentors or for exactly teachers, coaches, family members. Everyone is a mentor, right? They're everywhere, but they're going to be different levels to it, right? Even when it comes to coaches, you're going to have some coaches. And I was telling my son this the other day, right? My son is 7 years old. I said, why do you think I get you a soccer coach versus teaching you soccer, even though I understand soccer? Why do I get you a martial arts sensei instead of teaching you how to fight? Because there are people who are more qualified to teach you these things. And you will go further with someone who's a professional, right? It's the same, no matter what the area, but at the same time, it's all about availability at the same time. Let's use a hood area versus a non-hood area. Yes, they can have access to tennis. They could have, or they may not have access to a tennis coach. They may just have tennis courts, right? They can have a basketball coach. They may not have as many, right? They can have a football coach in both areas. But the hood may not have as many. What's that going to do? That's going to leave some kids out. You feel me? So you provide those opportunities by understanding how to play the game, investing, right? Because again, we started off talking about one of the things Bree mentioned is companies buying other companies. We looked at market cap for companies and said, look, if a company is worth $2 trillion and their CEO is worth 500 billion, and this other company that they want to acquire because they like their products, they like their services, they like what they can add, and it's only $2 million, it's pocket change. They have experience and teach what they specialize in. Exactly. Right? They once were an apprentice too back then. So exactly. Right? Sometimes in certain areas, you can get the benefit of that, but we all know for a fact it's more likely to happen in some of the better areas. We just know this for a fact. You feel what I'm saying? Because the last person I want my child to learn baseball from is a nigga that never played baseball. You're just the coach because they needed a coach and you needed a job. You don't know shit about baseball. Why? If I want my kid to actually make it somewhere, why do I want him to learn from you? Why do I want to put my kid in your neighborhood karate class and your ass can't even do a couple push-ups? Where I can put him in this class in this nicer neighborhood, right? Where this person is literally a master. He could do a flip over a crowd of people. He can do things that you didn't even know he can do until he shows you he could do it. Versus this person who's not that healthy, right? They're not practicing what they teach. That's the difference. But it all starts with you and I learning things and getting ourselves out of certain areas or certain environments. Let's be real. Do we want to learn the potholes, chat? Or do we want to be in an area where people complain about the potholes so then they get fixed? I don't want to be learning potholes. The last thing you want to do is pull up in your new whip. Hey, yo, listen, I just got my new whip. It don't matter what the car is. It could be an old car, but it's new to you. The last thing you want to do is, hey, look, I got my new whip. I'm feeling good. And now my tires popped and I got an unexpected expense. A car that you may not have had to worry about maintenance for 3, 4, 5 years. Now you're worrying about maintenance a month after having the car because your shitty ass streets have potholes all in them. I got to think about that type of stuff, chat. And when you do, just like that article we saw earlier, not only will you start thinking about retirement, you'll start thinking about things in different ways. Do I want to waste my money on this crap? Do I want to put my money elsewhere? If you don't have kids, hey, look, nobody's saying not to live your life and do what you want to do. But being comfortable, hey, listen, eventually being comfortable starts to cost you, chat. It starts to cost you. Because when you got people side swiping your new car, knocking off the mirror, that costs you. That's taking money out of your pocket. You doing good. I've been doing good, chat. I've been saving 10% of all my paychecks. I'm almost at my goal for the year, chat. Somebody break into your car, steal nothing because there's nothing in your car, right? You feel me? What do you think's going to happen? You know what I'm saying? I told y'all before when I was teaching people about me a little bit, I told y'all how I used to work in the area that I lived in, and I worked in the bank, right? And because of that reason, a lot of people in the neighborhood knew me, but they also knew not to mess with me. And it wasn't don't mess with him because he's this thug or nothing like that. It's like, don't mess with him. That's the dude from the bank. He be looking out for people. He be teaching people. He be educating people. Leave him alone. Because I see these same people in the grocery store. I see the same people here and here, and they may come into the bank and they may need me, chat. They may need me. So people knew. Listen, first of all, they knew you. Trust me. It doesn't matter who you are. If you don't think people in the hood know what you drive, they do. They do. Because I did. When I lived in the hood, I knew what people drove. I know who cars is who. Because you already know, first of all, there's some wild ass person in the neighborhood and you know what they drive or whatever the case is, and you know not to mess with that person. They're a known crash out, right? You feel what I'm saying? That don't change even now in a nicer neighborhood. I know what you drive. I know where you live, all this stuff, right? That's just a natural thing that people have. I hate when people put face to a car because mind your business. Hey, listen, most of the time you try to mind your business, but you also got to be aware. You got to be aware. You got to be aware. You know what I'm saying? Devo coming. You feel me? You got to be aware, chat. Because if you're not aware, they're going to catch you slipping. First of all. But second of all, like I said, people knew. First of all, it wasn't hard to tell because I'm in the hood and I have this nice ass car. I don't know what y'all think, but that Cadillac CTS I had was clean. And I always kept it clean. You know what I'm saying? Did my car get broken into? Yes. One time. But did it get broken into as much as I thought it would get broken into? Absolutely not. People left me alone, chat, because they already knew the vibes, right? Because they already know. Like, listen, you start messing with me, all right, cool. When y'all come through the bank, I'm gonna give you traditional banking service. All this extra assistance and going out of the way you need, I'm not messing with y'all. Them overdraft fees that you got and you want your boy True to just help me out, True. Can you reverse that overdraft fee for me? Nah, because y'all playing games. Well, I was looking out for y'all and your account was overdrawn and that could make the difference of whether you could have ate that day. I'm not going above and beyond for you because y'all playing games. Listen, I still did my job, but I always went above and beyond for everyone. I keep it real with you, chat. You feel me? At one point, me and my manager showed up. I'll put y'all on game. Listen, at one point, me and my manager showed up on the list, right? I used to work for Wells Fargo. That's no secret. When I was a banker, I showed up on a list, chat. What was the list? In the Mid-Atlantic region, I told y'all, that's from Maine all the way down to Florida, right? In the Mid-Atlantic region, me and my manager were at the top of the list for most refunded fees, right? Because people in our area needed help, chat. So when they come in and they crying because now they can't get to work, they can't get their baby to the daycare or whatever because they're a little, not little, but they're $20 they may have needed. They didn't realize this $2 transaction from the 7-Eleven was going to overdraw their account $35. So am I going to look at this lady with her baby or this dude or whoever or this old person, whatever, and be like, nah, I'm not giving you $35 back. No. This is going to change your whole week. Me giving you this $35 refund fee going to change your whole week. And we showed up at the top of the list because everybody that came through, listen, if you wasn't an asshole and you came through, chill. You ain't come in screaming at us. Like, listen, you come in screaming at me. All right. Take your negative account right back to where you came from. You know what I'm saying? They all do weird shit. Then boom, here they are walking up to the desk hoping. Yep. Exactly. We all over the place, chat, but we're right where we need to be. You feel me? Because we're talking about investing, right? And how do you start making a difference? One, in your own life and also in the lives of the people around you, or being able to be a voice in your community is one, don't get comfortable. If you are comfortable, cool, but don't get comfortable. Like if you want more, don't get comfortable living in the hood, right? Because people need an example too. You feel what I'm saying? Like don't get comfortable. Like show people that listen, this is not our last stop. We don't want to just be here and every 2 weeks or every week looking at our paycheck and complain that half of it got stolen for taxes or taken or contributed to taxes. And then you still not benefiting from the taxes. Your roads are still messed up. You live in a food desert because there's no good grocery store. Like, why do I have to get all my groceries from the corner store? There's no grocery store in the area. You know what I'm saying? You got the check cashing folks coming through and swiping a percentage of your check just so you can get the cash to live your life. Like, chat, that's no way to live. Check cashing people taking that much out of your check to cash your check. You need that money to survive or get to the next level. You feel me? Y'all know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about because I'm not just preaching. I'm telling y'all from experience. I've been through all of that stuff. You feel me? So I know exactly what's going on. I know how to operate. You feel me? So y'all gotta realize that, listen, there's certain things you can do to slowly start making improvements. And we're going to learn that together through investing, through otherwise, because your True got, hey, listen, your boy True got a lot of knowledge. I know a little bit about a lot of things, chat. Feel me? I know a little bit about a lot of things. That's the time we on. You know what I'm saying? And Bree, you saw it. You know what I'm saying? You saw the information I gave folks. That was about the sectors. So on Mondays, that's the new thing that we're doing. We're talking about sectors and we're talking about investing. We started from the bottom. This was week 4. If you were here 4 weeks ago and you had no idea what a stock is and you've been here every Monday, you now know so much. You know how to diversify your portfolio. You know exactly what company to look for. You know how to find the company, how to read the company, how to understand information about the company. And we still at a very low level, chat. Think about how much information you've received in these 4 weeks. Now, think about someone who's been living in this market, living in the market, right? Let me show y'all one more thing real quick. Think about someone who has been living in this market, right? I'm gonna give y'all an example of someone who's been living in the market, right? So again, we know about our categories, right? But notice what I want to show you right under investing, and we're gonna go there in a second, because people ask me all the time, do you get ideas from anywhere? Look, Mr. King Investor himself, Warren Buffett Archive. You feel me? There's so much information you can find out. Warren Buffett got his own section on CNBC, chat. Look at this. Look at this. Look what happened if you type in. Oops, sorry. Look, chat. Look at this. You type in Warren Buffett, how much stuff comes up, right? These are all the articles where they even mentioned, like, chat. Look at this. And then, hold on, let me Google this real quick. I don't know why my brain is freezing at the moment. Okay, here. It's under investing. My brain is not working at the moment. But I just want to show you this real quick. Berkshire Hathaway Portfolio Tracker, right? When they talk about Warren Buffett and they talk about Berkshire Hathaway, look at this. Look at this. This is what you call the Buffett portfolio. Look at this. Most people can't even say that number. Do y'all see that? That's $1 trillion, chat. Look at this. And it shows you exactly where the money's at. Look at this. Look how much Apple your boy Warren Buffett had. Look, $65 million, chat. 50. Do y'all see that? 50 billion. Oh, I missed the last 3 zeros, chat. 65 billion. 50 billion. Look. I missed the last 3 zeros. I don't know what I was looking at. Look at all this. Look at all this money, chat. Do y'all see this? Do y'all see this? It's right here. You want to know how people invest? This is one person. I'm going to show you guys a lot of information. But these are little things. Even if you wanted, let me tell you, once upon a time, years ago, how I used to do my portfolio is I used to mimic Warren Buffett. So however much money I had, so let's call it I had $1,000, right? I would scale that $1,000 way down from Warren Buffett's $1 trillion, right? And Berkshire Hathaway market cap, right? I would scale it way down and I would buy the investments in this portfolio. I will buy the investments in this portfolio. And if you watch it, right? I know I'm scrolling up and down, but they'll tell you how they change over time. And I would track how it changed. I would literally print this out every quarter, chat, and switch up my investments based on this. Because if this is what he's doing, right? Me following him can't be that hard, right? It says it right here. I mean, it has to be beneficial, right? Look how much money you got, more money than me. By far. But look, you feel what I'm saying? That's all it takes, chat. That is all it takes. Applaud to that. W's in the chat. Y'all saw the vibes. You saw the vibes. But anyway, I talked y'all head off. Sorry, nice little stretch. I might have to add that to one of my channel points, a little stretch. I talked y'all head off, but you learned a lot. And if you missed it, I encourage you, go back and watch the VOD. The video on demand. That's another reason why, for now, I don't have my VODs too long. Because I want y'all to be able to go back and watch it and say, you know what? That was a lot of information True gave. Right? Go back and say, what? Even if you miss some, like, I did not know he talked about all this. Listen. We've been streaming for 2.5 hours. I'll tell y'all right now, an hour in is when I started talking about market sectors. And ask Bree. We went crazy. We went crazy. Right? We're learning together. And if you want to learn with us, especially in this investment journey on everything else, right? Because we're also going from zero to hero. We're upgrading our Twitch stream and everything else. Show up. It's SUBtember. Give the biddies. Give the subs. You know what I'm saying? Show up for your boy. Come and get the information because I'm putting y'all on. And I'm going to put y'all on regardless of how many people in the chat. We got like 1.6 million people in the chat today. But if it's 0, I'm still going to put the information out there. And it's going to be here. You feel me? W's in the fucking chat. That's the time we on. Y'all going to learn a lot. And it's not just going to be about investing. But if you want to buy an investment live next week, I told you guys, I'm putting $200. That's what I'm going to start my account with, $200, right? Accounts go up and down, so whatever. But $200 is what I'm going to start with. $200, shout out to the short ads. $200 is what I'm going to start with. We gave you plenty of brokerage accounts to choose from. Choose your own. Feel free to do your research. See which one you like. If you can, get yourself set up to buy an investment next week. That's what we want to do. We want to buy an investment next week, right? And today's September 1st. It's SUBtember. We're starting now. We're starting here now, and we're gonna upgrade, and we're gonna make bread, and we're gonna do all these things. Listen, we're gonna go from somebody that no one knows to someone that everyone knows. I promise you that. Some people gonna know. Some people gonna know who True is, and once you realize the type of information you're getting here, no matter what type of stream it is, IRL, chatting, gaming, it doesn't matter. I'm going to put y'all on. You feel me? So anyway, yeah. 2.5 hours. But y'all indulge me because y'all know what time it is. I'm going to wrap up, but we got to look for somebody to raid first. Let's go. W's chat. W's. Let's see who we got. Let's see who we got. Okay. Oh, let's raid Shaw. Shaw live. Let's do it. When we hit that raid button, you already know what it sounds like, chat. Oh, she got a shared chat. I didn't know everybody was in the shared chat. Oh, Ice in there too. Shout out to the whole Raid Trade family. Y'all already know the vibes. Y'all already know the vibes. It is SUBtember. Let's go support our girl Shaw. Let's support everybody. Let's go. I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one.